like, help working for a defense that has the crowd that comes behind you here at Albertson Stadium?
Oh, it's a huge advantage. Absolutely. It's so much fun, man. As far as now, granted, sometimes I feel like I can't actually talk to my players because they can't hear me. And there's some advantage to be able to yell out there every once in a while just to make sure we're in the proper alignments and all that fun stuff. But at home, I don't get that advantage. But the advantage that we do get from our crowd and the just the penalties from the offsides and just I know from an offensive perspective, it's got to be hard for them to communicate, and the juice that the crowd feeds into our players is awesome.
I know sometimes it's a talking point, whatever, but I mean, it's 14 false starts in 2 games. You guys led the nation a couple years before. If you take the COVID year out, I mean, you're talking, 3rd and 2 to 3rd and 7. I mean,
exactly.
It really does make a big difference, right?
It's huge. It's huge. To your point, as far as whether it's a 3rd down that all of a sudden becomes from a 3rd and medium to a 3rd and long, or 3rd and short to a 3rd and medium, or just starting behind the sticks from at 1st and 15 or 2nd and long. That's a huge advantage. And so our guys, I know they're dialed into it, and they love the support that we get regardless of if it's loud or not. But when you have that type of crowd noise that gives you a little bit of an advantage, we'll take it every time.
I reached it on Saturday after the game, or Friday after the game, that we also have to play through that in terms of the defense. I guess as a coaching staff, how do you guys remedy that? How do you guys play through that noise?
We just got to make sure that from the standpoint of our communication can't just be verbal. There's got to be nonverbal communication, and guys have to confirm with one another every single play to make sure that all 11 guys are on the same page. Because as we know, if all 11 are on the same page, then bad things are going to happen. But when we get all 11 on the same page and we can get that pre-snap success that we emphasize and preach around here, a lot of good things happen. And so it's just a matter of actually going to practicing that every single day, whether we get a little crowd music or a little music going throughout practice, or just practicing through a walkthrough. Hey, this is some nonverbal communication this time around, just so our guys are always accustomed to that.
How was Fresno State without
Hainer is a very talented, very competitive, tough. He is a guy that is going to make your team better no matter what team he's on. And without him at the helm, you just lose a little bit of that. But at the same time, they are a very talented offense, and they are a very good group. They're very well coached. So you know that they're going to have the play calls in there that are going to be what will be successful, what they feel will be successful from an offensive standpoint. You know, you've got other guys on their team that have the capability of stepping up, and they've got very good, capable quarterbacks that have played now and in the absence of Hainer, and I think they're still a very dangerous team. And offensively, they're not going to, obviously, when you lose your leader, it hurts. But I know from a coaching standpoint that they're going to preach the next man up, and they've got a very capable quarterback that's playing in that spot, and they've got a lot of weapons around him that are going to make him very, like I said, a very dangerous offense. And so we know that and understand that, and we've got to go into this thing preparing for an offense that is capable of doing really big things.
You prepare it all for Hainer just in case, or no?
Well, you have to. You have to. Just, obviously we have the film of him playing. We have the film of him of the first how many games, and obviously last season as well, our game against them last season. So we're going to utilize the film and prepare for whoever plays that quarterback position for them. We know, again, that this is a very good offense, a very explosive offense with a lot of weapons all over the field, from obviously the receiving core to the running backs, the O-line. So this is a very good offense that is going to come in here, and they've got something to prove. And I know they're going to be fired up and well coached and ready to go.
We've seen JL just start really getting involved, making tackles in the run game and stuff. What have you noticed about his development over the last 5 weeks?
I think just from the standpoint of our entire defense is starting to click and starting to come together. And when guys are doing their job, and that's the thing that we're preaching across the board, all 11 guys, it's about doing your job. And when you do your job from the pre-snap all the way through the post-snap, and you execute your assignments, the plays are going to come to you. And that's the big emphasis for all of us, and including JL, obviously, is say the play will come to me. I'm going to do my job. And when the play comes to you, you trust one another that each one of us is going to make that play. And I think guys have really bought into that, and they're doing a great job of it.
How different is the feeling like from the plane ride home after the UTEP game? It's only been a week and a half, but just you get a win at home, you get some momentum going. I mean, it just seems like a lot has changed in a short amount of time in terms of the outlook for your season. I mean, is it a different energy or enthusiasm around here?
Obviously, after any win or loss, a win you're going to feel a little bit differently than a loss. I mean, that's just the nature of this game. You put so much into something throughout the course of a week, and to not get the results, you're always going to feel a certain way. And then the flip side of it, when you do get the results that you want, you're obviously going to be elated and be have that sense of joy and accomplishment. But then you've got to flip back right into that next mode or that next play mentality and start preparing for the next game right away. So you don't have a whole lot of time to think about whether it's loss or win. It's about what's the next thing to come. And that's the thing that our guys have done a really good job of. We've got to block out everything outside of this building and outside of the outside noise and just focus on what do I have to do from an individual standpoint to do my job for this team and for this family, and focus on that every single day. And if you do that, eventually you'll get the results that you want.
You said this defense is starting to click over the last couple of weeks. Where do you think specifically it's getting better?
You know, I think again, it's last week and hopefully going forward, the assignment sound and just our execution of our job. And that's the biggest thing is guys not pressing, trying to make or do too much. Just stay within my lane, stay in my role and do my assignment, do my job. And when that happens, good things happen for our entire defense. When all 11 are on the same page and everyone is doing their job and playing with great fundamentals and technique, we're a very good defense. When we start to go above and beyond what we're supposed to do, when we start to do things outside of our assignments, that's when potentially trouble starts to happen, or if we're not on the same page communication wise. And I think our communication and just being assignment sound has been on point.
Last week was rough, obviously. Staff changes, a quarterback goes, and after you're coming off a tough loss, how did you guys as a coaching staff not let that get to the players?
The biggest thing again is just maintaining the focus on what was in front of them right then and there. When in the moment, what can I do to win this moment right here? And again, trying to block out everything that's happened outside of your control. You can only control what you can control. And as long as I'm focused on what I can control and the things that I need to get done in that moment, you just take it step by step, moment by moment. A lot of you start to figure out that all this stuff that's happening outside of you, it really doesn't matter at the end of the day. What matters is what's in front of me, what do I have to get done, what can I control, how can I control my response. And I think our guys really bought into that and did a tremendous job of just blocking out everything that was out of their control and focusing on what they needed to get done each and every day.
Even if 5 plays for Hayner, how much more difficult is it preparing for a team that's balanced? We haven't seen a whole lot of balanced teams this season. Maybe Oregon State would be considered balanced. But how much more difficult is that?
Anytime an offense has the ability to get the run game going, and then that creates play action pass opportunities, it's hard. It makes it hard as from a defensive standpoint, because now they have essentially the pencil last, I guess you could say. They have you on your heels a little bit, but when you can get a team to be one-dimensional, you get an opportunity to now you're pressing the gas a little bit and you're starting to attack and become a little bit more and more of we're not reacting as much as we're forcing them to react to us now. So with a guy like Hayner at the quarterback at that position, a guy that can all of a sudden take a run play and make it an RPO, and now all of a sudden you've got the 50-50 every single play, it's tough. It makes it hard. And again, like I said, regardless of who's at the helm for these guys, their coaching staff does a tremendous job of putting together game plans, taking advantage of the personnel and the weapons that they do have, putting their guys in the right position, and always keeping defenses off balance as much as possible. And so that's the challenge for us this week going into this offense or facing this offense is these guys have a tremendous ability of keeping you off balance.
We've seen a lot of guys in your group get playing time, especially with the dime package. We're seeing Tubner get out there more, and Robinson and Owen Depot and these guys. How do you feel overall that the safety group's playing?
No, I'm excited about how we've progressed. And that's what you want, right? You want to make sure that every single week you're getting better and better. And that's the challenge that you've got to put on these guys, and that these guys have really, really grown to love and embrace is every day finding ways to get better. And it doesn't matter how many reps you played the previous week, doesn't matter what you did. If it was a great game the previous week, it's always about, all right, what's next? So what? Now what? How can I continue to get better? What are the small little details I can continue to add to my game to continue to improve? So at the end of the year, you're playing your best football. And that's what you want. You want just that constant improvement week in and week out.
What makes the read option so hard to defend? I'm sure you've had to defend it a lot in the Big Sky years too. Now you see it, you guys having the success you had last week with Cutter. Why is that so tough to stop?
Just you talk about assignment sound football, right? And you're forcing somebody on the opposing team. You're putting a guy in conflict all the time, meaning that he's got to defend the run as far as the running back and also defend the inside portion of the quarterback when he pulls the ball. So it puts somebody in conflict all the time. And you've got to have guys and numbers to be able to defend it somehow, some way. And if all of a sudden you bring those numbers down to defend the run, guess what now happens? They got an opportunity to go over the top with it. So that's the challenging part as a defense when you're facing a quarterback that has the ability to run, has the ability to hand it to a really good couple running backs and an O-line that's getting pushed. It's all of a sudden you're putting a lot of guys in conflict, play in and play out.
Go for it.
The last 2 years, what's the most impressive thing you've seen from Taylor Green on the practice field?
Multiple things. That guy, the old Uncle Rico saying, as far as he can literally throw the ball over the stadium or over the mountains. I've seen him look like he can do that. I mean, that guy can throw the ball a mile. And then the fact that he can pull it on any one of these QB reads and literally go the distance in a matter of seconds. Like, I've seen that guy get to top speed, and when he's at top speed, there's not a lot of people in America that can catch him. And that's impressive, and that's hard to defend against as a defensive coach. And trust me when I say, man, it's not fun when you see 10 turning that corner on a defense. It's not a fun sight to see. Now, when I'm watching it from our sidelines, it's awesome. But from a defense and practice deal, that is not what you want to see when old 1-0 takes that corner and turns and runs.